At the end of this short video, you will hear a short clip out of our session that I cut together for you. If you want to hear the whole thing, you can visit us on patreon.com at Hyperspace Connection, where we will post more of that stuff for you to hear, to learn about the Earth-like system and beyond.
He has some really big, buggy eyes.
Hi. A short story about a hypnosis session that we had maybe 2-3 years ago, where we discovered a portal. Before I go into the portal that we discovered in the outer layers of the Earth-like system, a little preparation here. Understanding the Earth-like system. The Earth-like system is somehow a closed system with the physical part and the non-physical parts that are layered like an onion outward. And every layer has its own frequency and interface to be used to be there to realize and live within that layer in a way. Through the work with Robert Monroe many years back, through my own experiences, and as well through thinking about certain things, I came to the conclusion that this closed system has an entry point and an exit point. But that entry and exit point is guarded. So with the hypnosis session that we have done 2 or 3 years ago, with Heidi, she didn't know what I'm going to go. That's what we did usually. I just put her into trance. I had prepared a piece of paper with my questions where I would like to go. She didn't know about it. So I was sending her out away from Earth to have a certain perspective and perception, and we discovered this portal. This portal was guarded by, it felt like, or she described it as a male energy being. So it felt like a male being. Of course, these are perceptions and sometimes not exactly what it is, but just to let you know how everything worked. So as we learned that when we approach beings in this non-physical realm, especially when you do hypnosis sessions and you approach those energy systems and beings in it, you have to have some safeguards. One of them is you approach a being and you have to challenge it. What I mean by that is you challenge it in a way that the response that you get makes you feel you want to engage in a conversation or not. So basically, if you can trust it or not. The interesting part with that being, that guard or guardian of that portal, was when I challenged this guardian and I asked, can we trust you? It immediately said, no, you can't. So I was asking, what is the reason for you not to be trusted? So it gave us answers to it that made us think, or me think, to act quickly. So we had a certain conversation with that guardian and revealed the reason for it to be there. And to compress that, the reason to be there is it was a guardian that allowed beings going in and out. But he explained that he has basically an upper level boss level. So he is just there and does a job. But it seemed he didn't really like the job. But he does a job, and there are control mechanisms or beings above him. So suddenly within the session, when we had quite an interesting exchange or conversation, Heidi suddenly felt that there are others coming from outward, coming inward, so towards the portal. And before they even arrived, there was a perception or feeling of that she, that was in the trance, got tagged, or they were ready to tag her, basically hook something into her. And I had to abort the session immediately because that got a little bit too far, and we didn't want to go into a danger zone here because we had already sessions that we went quite far and we had to be careful. So we aborted, or I aborted the session. So what's the takeaway here? The interesting part is, of course, we discovered that portal, and I'm sure there are others, but it ties into the work that Robert Monroe did, that there is an entry and exit point to either go into the Earth-like system or to leave the Earth-like system, and it's guarded. The disturbing part is that that guardian that we discovered didn't feel like he is supportive or a good guy thing. And those others that came or approached us didn't feel good as well. And that ties into the idea, my opinion, that the Earth-like system is heavily guarded and basically a prison-like environment. And in order to get out there, we need to understand the whole structure, how it works on the physical plane and as well in those non-physical areas where there is a guarded entry and exit door, if you want to call it that way. So this is interesting to know. I wanted to share that with you as well, for the reason that there is still basically almost all of those believers that everything is just fine and that the whole reincarnation is just about learning and everything is beautiful and it's just pure light and there's nothing bad about it. And I just want to tell you that this is not really the case, because if that would be the case, then we would not have such a turmoil on the planet. And the last 2 years have shown us that there are dark forces that have penetrated basically everything on the planet, including all levels of humanity. And they are showing themselves now, those forces are showing themselves now. And we have to really start pulling ourselves up and ask the real question here. So this, the little story about this hypnosis session we had a while back about the guardian that ties into the Earth-like system that we are in, that is a closed system unless you know how to get in, or basically for us now to get out. Okay, my question for you and my takeaway is, do you believe that the Earth-like system exists in a way I just described? Do you believe that reincarnation is just a good thing, or it could be as well a trapped structure? Or what are your thoughts? I would love to hear about maybe your own experiences and, of course, your thoughts. Leave them down there and share your thoughts so we have a good discussion about it. See you then.
He has some really big, buggy eyes. And when he closes them, they disappear. Like you wouldn't even know they were there. And when I look in his eyes, there's little round things in there. Like thousands of them. I feel like he's contacting someone. Okay, well now I see these things up in the sky.
Tell me what's happening.
I just see these things in the sky.
What do you mean by that, things?
They look like spaceships or something.